Okay, yeah, now we got audio. So what you're looking at is my workbench in the middle. It's my computer desk, messy computer desk. And then the old Prusa I3 MK3 up over here on this webcam, which I don't have anything printing today. So just thought we'd do a little stream and see how far we could get with putting this thing together. So from my point of view, or from your point of view, everything's going to be upside down because the camera's mounted on a shelf up there, but we do have an assembly instruction book. We got a little page of go to visit there for the assembly guide, so I'll fire that up on my little laptop up here, just so I have it for reference. And pull up that web page. Prusa, whoops, not 2D, 3D. .com C/. And why is it not typing anything? What is going on? Oh, because I got that sitting there? No? What the heck? There. Okay. That seems weird. There's no www, just manual. Prusa 3D.com. English manuals. i3 MK3 kit assembly version 3.01. Well, that's what we're going to do. So, introduction, shows me a bunch of tools. All the boxes, spares. Okay, now I don't want to log in to do that. Okay. So now, okay, Joseph, the only thing I will say is that you need to have part 1, unless I'm doing this wrong. Part 1 linked to Part 2. Okay, so y-axis assembly. So we got the box. Let's more loose paperwork. An addendum. Changes. Okay. Well, keep that over there. Okay. I'll set that off to the side where I can read it. And I am assuming that in this big flat box, oh, look at that. Woo. We've got our steel sheet. And believe me, I'll be ordering more of these. Note to Joseph, I would like to be able to order these with just blank. Ooh, that's interesting. Blank with no PEI on them whatsoever. So you could put build tack or Garolite for a nylon or whatever else you wanted on there. That would be fun to be able to swap print beds and different adhesive things and have a blank one so that I can just put glue stick on it or whatever and not mess up my PEI and not have to scrub the PEI. So for right now, that guy can go back in his little protective cover. That'll set over to the side. And that is the heat bed with the magnets. And we have a frame. Well, that is quite different from the MK2 frame for the bed. And the Z-axis frame. I do like it the way everything is packed in here. So let's put that up, get that out of the way. All right. Got some little y-axis pieces. Some short and some longer. Those are extra fancy. See if I got the right box. Nope, that looks later box because it's got all the wiring. Might need some zip ties. Oh no, there's a number. There's a new thing. Oh. USB cable. Tools. We won't need the pad, front pad. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So those are labeled in there. Spares. What is in here? Nylon. That's hot in. Okay, this is 2, 3, and 4 supplemental. So there might be something in there that we need. C. Won't need for a while. Okay. You need the zip tie, so we'll set all that out. Okay. Okay. I am going to have a bunch of tools because it seems like every printer I get more and more tools with it. But that's a good thing. Okay. Set those guys off to the side. All right. We're supposed to have M3 screws. Five, 16 M5 by 16. So let's see what we got in the bag. M5 by 16s. They're going to have the. Oh, this is nice. Look at this. They're in their own little package. Bearings, we got feet, we got 4 bearings, got some T-nut thingies, we got some belt U-bolts, okay, set that guy out to the side, and let's put that guy back in there, because we're not ready for him yet. Alright, for these, eight, 12, 16. Okay, make sure the Prusa logo is visible. Take the longer pieces. Prusa logo on the front of the frame. Okay. So the Prusa logo on the front and the long frame, long ones to go on this side with an inside set of holes. Does that make sense, everybody? And to do that, we put one through there. Oh yeah, this is awkward. But it will only be awkward until I get one of these suckers put on here. And then it'll kind of stand on its own. Sorry if I'm waving in front of the camera. And sorry you probably can't see what I'm doing. But that's okay. We'll get this guy in here. Let's get the screws in loosely. And since I have my back to the OBS computer, I can't really see the chat. So if there actually is anybody watching, sorry, I won't be responding to the chat. But if you type your chat in on the YouTube stream afterwards, I will happily answer everything. All right. So we need this big one. Tighten this guy. Just get them all snugged in here. Not really tight. And if you're wondering what I'm building them on, this is just a sheet of glass that I use for building my models. When I'm doing my little N-scale train models, because it lets me build everything flat and square. So I'm going to hold it down to the glass, make sure it's square, and tighten these guys up. And they just have to be good and tight, not reefing tight. And I don't want them vibrating loose, but I don't want to strip threads out of the aluminum extrusions either. Okay. There. Now it's kind of going to stand up by itself. Make sure I did put them on the wrong side. Yeah, the wrong side. Make sure I did put them on the right side. All right. Did them by the diagonals. Tighten the screws with the Allen key just slightly. Go on the side of the frame where the Prusa logo is not visible. They go to the outsides and do the same sort of a thing. So line them up there. Excuse me a minute while we get this started in here. Yeah, we're just getting it started. It's going to be awkward with the camera where it's at. I don't think it matters which way these extrusions are turned. And I don't think there's any one side of them that's different from the other sides. Just snug that up. These could be where a long hex driver would be handy. Just a straight, or go get my ball set. I have the ball right here. It's the wrong size. Do I have my ball set here? No, probably not. Okay. Is that one? That one's too small as well. Yep. Be right back. Okay. Make sure the stream's still alive. Hey, looks like it. Great. Okay. So a set of ball drive Allen's is really nice for getting in on these things where you can't spin the handle right up next to the other extrusion. Okay. I'll put it here. I don't know how long I'll run this stream, but one thing I would like to show you guys, if we get that far, is how to preload the bearings with grease, or at least how I do it. And I think it's a mistake that I see most people doing is just putting these things together with the lube that comes on the bearings. And you know, and all the machinery, granted, it's sawmill equipment that we put together, but none of the bearings that we put together, yes, they are lubricated from the factory, but they're not meant to be run with that lubrication in them. They're meant to have regular grease or whatever grease that the engineers think will hold up to the temperature and the speeds that we're running. And I just see too many people just sticking these bearings and running them and then wondering why after 6 months the machine's really noisy or they're rods are all scarred up, or and that kind of thing. I'm going to show you up here on my MK2. So that MK2 that I've got has been, well, I've been printing with it for a year, over a year, and it's not even US, so it does not have the ground rods. It's just got the regular, cold rolled steel rods. And yeah, it's noisy, but it's not horrendously I mean, it's loud, but if you look at the rods, and we'll see if you can see that there. Oh, did my camera quit? No, there it goes. Okay. These rods are not marked up at all. The ones, they're a little bit dirty, grease-wise. They've got grease on them, but they're not noisy. The bed, yeah, it rattles a little bit. It's got a little bit of give in it, but that's pretty much how it's been since I put it together. So loading the bearings with grease, I think, is critical to having a smooth running piece of equipment and getting long life out of it. Okay, so we're making sure that we got the things on the right sides of the frame, Prusa logo on the long sides, they're closer together, short extrusions on the opposite side, further away. Okay, now we've got a box with some plates in it. Oops, that's not the one. Oh, sorry, not the box with the plates. It's this thing wrapped up with the Y plates. And there's some flappiness. There we go. There's an opening. So these are pretty. Look at that sparkly. Kind of that galaxy black kind of color. Okay. The Y plate, the longer one, is the rear plate. And the short one is the front plate. And it goes this way with the little cutout. It goes down. And that should take the rest. These two plates should take the rest of our little screws here. Let's make sure we got enough. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I guess there's not a right and a wrong side to this. The whole pattern looks the same on both sides. Okay. So put screws in all of these. Oops, that's the wrong one. That's the right one. No. No, this one. Okay. And then it says make sure you tighten them on diagonals. So we'll do a crisscross pattern. Ow, cramps. Sorry, cramps. Okay. Now, before we do the next piece, there's a couple little nuts. Oops, there. One, two, and those are supposed to go in the top of. Okay, so this goes in here. And this is for mounting, power supply unit. Okay. So, 1, 2. They go in that way. And then the next one is put all those together with the hump up. Now, Pooch over at Repcord already has his put together. I don't think I'm going to be able to catch up with him because he's already been doing prints on his. But we'll get as far as we can get today. And the reason to do these on a diagonal binding tight. We want to just get everybody down there so the heads are like within a half turn or so of coming tight. This is definitely much easier than doing the threaded rod thing, trying to get the nuts and the washers and everything at the right distance. That seemed to be the biggest problem. And then trying to hold everything square. It wasn't too bad, but you had to do a lot of measuring with calipers, and I used my machinist 1, 2, 3 blocks to hold everything square, make sure the frame was square. Okay, so now we can tighten these guys down. Get in there. Come on. And just like most things, you know, building model kits or putting together 3D printers, don't get in a rush. I know you're excited to get the thing up and running and melt some plastic and burn some things up, burn your fingers, but taking your time putting this together the right way and making sure that you do everything that needs to be done the first time will avoid a lot of problems later on. Okay, so that part of the frame is done. Rotate the frame. No, we already did that. It got lost. Tighten those. Geometry check. I'll put it on my flat piece. It does not wobble. No, it's good and square and flat and level. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Mounting anti-vibrational feet, optional. Well, we'll leave that as an option because they can always be done later. And quite frankly, I'm going to print from the reports I'm seeing of these feet. I am going to print some feet. And you know, it would have been smart had I put some T-nuts in there to hold them, but oh well. We'll print some feet that'll snap in and they won't fall out. Okay, Y holder front, Y holder back, M3 by 10s, M3 with the square nut. And we got to put those inside that. Get them lined up. Okay, so now we've got some printed parts that we need to find. Which, fortunately, they're in a snazzy bag here. Y holder front, Y holder back, belt idler, motor holder. So, the little teeny guys. Ooh, I like this color though. That is even brighter. Maybe it's just because it's new. Maybe my other one's faded a little bit, but like a brighter orange than the Mark II Prusa. Okay, so we got those four. Now we need that bag's gone. I don't need that. Okay. to y-axis. Let's see here. Joseph, include a set of tweezers with your next toolkit. Just because it makes life so much easier. And quite frankly, it's like clamps. You can never have enough tweezers. Or I should say, you can never have enough. You can never have too many tweezers. Should be one more. Oh, come on. There. And then, I suppose I'm going to have 8 of these little short guys. I would imagine. What have I got going on there? Oh, I see. Bags folded over. 6, or no, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the self-locking ones are especially nice, just in case you're actually listening to me. All right, so each one of these, yes, a little square nut that goes down in the slot. And you can use the tweezers to line them up, or you can use a small Allen wrench to go put the hole through there, go through the hole and line them up. What did I miscount, or did one get stuck to the side of my hand? Probably miscounted. Ooh. Well, all the rest of them were kind of tight. That one's kind of loose. All right. Got one more square nut in here. Here, right there he is. I see you in there. Coming with me. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. How many people love that movie? Okay. So now, I mean, there's little nubs on here. They all look the same to me. Okay. Make sure they're all done right. On the front ones, they go See, that is a very tiny picture, but it looks like the nuts. So the thin side, turn this around. So basically, the thin side will go towards this. And that, right. Okay. There we go. Put that through there. Come on. I know you can do it. Well, you should be able to do it. There it goes. Okay. So make sure I hold it down. That's interesting because the back end's not going to have anything to line it up to. Secure the front holder with two. Tighten the screws equally, but not completely. Tighten fully later on. Okay. Okay, so just snug them up in there. I see. So this has to go until it's really well, whoops, really well lined up with that hole. There we go. Yeah. Even though I pushed it in there, it does not want to. Okay. Come on. There it goes. Yeah, you're going in there. All right. Make sure I hold it down. Just snug him up. Oh, I see. So there's probably a little bit of play on the back ones, and you'll use the bed with the bearings to line all that stuff up. Okay, so let's turn this around. Make sure those are really lined up. All right. Thin side. Yep. Okay. All right. Just barely snug on these guys. Yeah, I know this is going to be a boring video because I'm not talking the whole time. But sorry. Okay, sorry. Clearing my throat. Okay. Now, our next piece is got these Y belt holders. One. So there's this one. It says A9 on it. Need some of these pieces. Just with a nut stuck in there. Okay. That's just a regular nut lock nut. Need M3 by 10 screw, M3 by 18 screw, one piece. So we need two of these and one of those and three of the little nylock nuts. Okay. Insert the nylock nuts from the top. I don't want to break them, but I do want to get that down in there. Kind of straight. kind of square to the bottom of the hole. Okay. Turn the idler to the other side and insert the last M3 nylock lat. Okay, well that's right there. Okay. Now insert the prepared bearing for the Y belt idler. Bearing orientation doesn't matter. 3 by Okay. So let's get this guy going. So pulling the nut in. I can feel it. It's moving. Too big. Too big. Where'd my other guy go? And I don't want it that tight. Let's back it up. All right. Since rotate the frame with longer extrusions towards you. Take the Y belt idler and place it on the front plate. There's a small circle on the print part facing up. Facing up. These two go in here. Oh, you know, I have this for another reason, but I will use it for this reason. Keep those guys all neat and tidy and where I can find them, and I'll probably tip it over 16 times today, but that's okay. Yeah, this is the one. So we're going to spin him in. Boop. Okay. Okay for that. Don't tighten the screws. I see. Don't tighten the screws fully. Sorry. This one. I'll just get them started, but I did seat the nylock nuts into the bottom. Okay, so that's loose. All right. Y motor. Okay, so now we've got a motor pack here. Motor kit. And guess which one is which? What do I want? Whoops. What do I want to bet? Extruder. Let's pick this one. X-axis, of course. It's got to be the last one I picked, the middle one. Y-axis, doesn't really matter, but we're going to use the right ones for the right spots. Okay, I guess it does matter what they are. Okay, so we got the motor mount for the Y-axis motor. And we use the right one. M3 by 10 screws. We need 4 of them. Three, 4. Okay. M3 nuts. That's what the little heck. And these nuts are just regular old nuts. That guy right there. 2 of those. Okay, take the Y motor holder, insert the 2 M3N nuts. Okay. Place the Y motor holder on the motor. Ensure the correct orientation. So it shows the wires coming out here. And this goes on there. That. And then to the M3 screws. Okay. Okay, we're getting there, guys. Okay. Motor and the holder are tight. All right. Now rotate this around again. And the motor holder B goes on that way. And it says secure it. Motor shaft must be facing towards those, yes, which it is. Why did we not put the drive sprocket on there beforehand? Don't know. does not say don't tighten these up, so we're going to tighten them up so we feel the nylox come up against here. There we go. Nylox, those are regular nuts. Okay. Okay, for the following steps, prepare the Y carriage. All right, so for right now, we can set this guy aside. And we've got our Y carriage. Now, on the old one, there was a dot somewhere to tell you which side was up. But in this one, I'm just looking at the picture. I don't see anything. Doesn't matter which way it goes. In one rotation, insertion does not matter. Oh, I see the dot right there. One of the tracks has to be in line with the cutout. Oh, I see. Okay. This is very important for the family. Place the orientation doesn't matter. Insert the linear bearing in the cutout and fasten it with a U-bolt. All right. So we're going to get our 3 bearings. And our U-bolts. Nylock nut 6. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the threads in the holes just to make sure which side I want to be threading stuff in from. I'm guessing that I want to put it on the side of the dot because there are machinists like me, they would from this with the dot. So on the off chance that they didn't tap far enough, at least the dot side has the best chance of having the threads get started. Okay. Two different brands of 3 nylock nuts, or else those are different. Right? 4. 6 of them. Okay. Hey. Now, before I put these on here, I'm going to pack them. And that's a little step that is not covered in the manual, but it's easier to do with these guys out and loose. So, right here, I have a tube. In this tube, there should be some rods, and all I need is one of the short ones. Oh, those are nice rods. Okay, set that aside. Let me go get a paper towel. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, so for all of you guys watching, this is what I mean by packing your bearings. And if you guys are automotively inclined, you'll understand when I talk about this. So, what I use, where'd he go? It's right here. Okay. So what I use is my ancient tube of Silglide. It's a medium grease, silicon based, but it's not super tacky. It's a real thin lube. And the way I do this is I put some down into the hole, just a nice little fingerful. Push it down in there. Try and be neat a little bit. Okay. And I should probably put one of these on the rods before I do this and show you what it sounds like. So, you hear that? That's right by the microphone. So that's a normal bearing on one of the rods. So now that I've got the grease in there, what I'm going to do is I put the rod in carefully, put my finger over the other end of the hole, and push the rod down into the bearing. Okay, and once I've done that, I can pull my finger off. Now all that grease is down inside the bearing. And what you want is for the bearing to be completely packed with grease. And that doesn't sound like it is. So we're going to add some more. I'm going to add it to the same end. Put my finger over it. Push the rod, and I'm holding my finger over here, trying to keep it from squishing out as best I can. And you want to pump the rod a little bit And then you can pull it back and push the extra grease back in and pump the rod. Okay. And work it a little bit. And I'm spinning the rod so I'm not marring this. And you just try forcing as much grease into the bearing as you can. Okay? And that makes sure all of those little balls have a good coating on them. Now, it doesn't sound much difference right now, but it will once you get done. So, while I'm still making a mess, I'll just finish up the rest of these. Put my finger over that. And pack that grease back in there. And like I said, this is important to do it now because it's way easier and way easier to clean up your mess at this point. Last one. And I'll do this for all the X-axis bearings as well. Okay. So those. So wipe off our rod. Put him back in the tube. And then we'll clean up the outsides of all our bearings. Clean off our glass plate, and I set that aside for later on. Oops. Okay. So now, paying attention to what they said, we're going to put our U-bolt on here. And we're going to throw a couple of nuts on. Just to keep our U-bolt from falling out. Keep the bearing from falling out. And then when we get ready to tighten those, we will make sure that one line of bearings is going down, oriented vertically as you look down through there. Okay. Oh, come on, you. Just tighten this guy up a little bit before we go any further. Smaller than that. That's 6, that's 5. Where's my 5.5? 5.5 right there. Okay, and these don't have to be super duper tight. I would like them to be kind of even as far as that goes. Yep, he's tight in there. Make sure that row of balls is lined up. Man, this is Team U-Bolt, not Team Zip Tie, huh? Awesome. Okay. Okay, that's good. Throw this guy in on this side. Balls are lined up. Oh, come on. Okay. Okay, we know you don't want to tighten the little U-bolts too tight because you don't want to crush those or distort the bearing shape. So yeah, we've got a row of bearings going all the way down. Okay. Doot doot doot. Tighten the nuts, but ensure both nuts are tightened equally, and as soon as you reach the top surface, stop tightening. Yep. Alright, ensure the nuts are tightened on the surface equally. Check if the bearing's centered in both directions. Well, this could be centered a little bit better. So loosen that up and move it and retighten. Okay, so all I did was loosened it up a little bit, and now I have equal gap at each end of the bearing. So just to make sure we're not binding it any which way that way. Okay. All right. So far, so good. Now, place the Y belt holder on the Y carriage and ensure the teeth are facing 2 bearings. All right. So that goes that way. Make sure that the teeth are facing the 2 bearings. So that way. 2 M3 10. Tighten them fully. There's threads of carriage. Okay. We'll do that. Okay. M3 10. Okay, so far so good. So now I can put the lid back on this before I make a mess and have an accident. Okay, so now we need to check our rods. Oh, and I may need a different bookmark. Easier. Okay, so we want the mid-length rods. Short rods, middle rods. Short rods, middle rods, long rods. These are the mid rods. Okay, then this goes through our nicely lubricated bearings, just like that, and just like that. All right, take the Y carriage, including the smooth rods, and place them on the YZ frame. Make sure the 2 bearings are on the left side. Yep, just like the other one. So, Y motor, boop, 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 boop. Okay, so I assume those, wow, snap into place. They look like they're down in there. Press all 4 of them in. Okay, so now we're going to put in some zip ties. Four zip ties. Does not seem bindy. Okay. It should be tight enough. Boop. And head towards the inside. All right, spin that puppy around. Okay, come here, you. Yep. If that one is not tight enough, then we'll put in a new one. Ouch. Injury. Okay. So the last step is to make sure that these are spaced correctly and tighten down these little guys. Okay. So much for that. Feels good. Slides nice. All right, flat part, rotated upwards. Place the GT shown. Okay, so now is our little pulley. And that usually is this. Did I get rid of that? Nope. It's this little guy with this little guy. Yes. And they say don't push it up against the motor. Put it right about there. I'm assuming that's pretty close. We'll adjust it later. Okay. Yeah, well. All right, turn the frame on its right side as shown in the picture. Access to the belt holder, idler, and pulley. Here's the bottom opening in this. Okay, here's our little belt that we're going to use. Yeah, now I've cut myself, and now I'm going to bleed everywhere, but that's okay. Don't worry. I'll be fine. All right, flip it up on its right side. Push the belt in using the upper one. That's interesting. So then it's going to go around the little pulley. And it's coming back down and going through the idler. Okay. Okay. Well, let's move this little pulley. A little bit. So that flat. Tight. The other one. Tight. Okay. Perfect. Don't use. Or did I just do this wrong? Probably. I did. Well, that's okay. Okay, so put this in the top slot for there. Make sure he's pushed all the way in. Okay. Then it comes down and around and comes around the pulley and goes into the bottom slot here. Yes. Okay, and then pull it tight and put that guy in there. All right. Hey, much better. Yes. Okay. Then da, da, da. Make sure this belt, tighten the screws on the pulley, and then tighten up those two. Oh, I see. So they want you to hold the, if it's tightened properly, then we can hold this guy. So let's snug this guy up. Snug this guy up. Yep. Yep. Then the theory is that if you hold this and push, that's beautiful. It's nice and tight. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Then we go to the x-axis assembly. But that's all I'm going to do for tonight. So you guys are on your own. We'll maybe pick it up tomorrow. I got some paint to do. Nice firebox, fireplace, whatever you want to call it. And we'll see y'all later.